Okay, so can everybody see my screen now, the presentation?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks for coming along, everyone, today. My name is Ross Logan. I am who's going to be running this scheme, the GradConnect mentoring scheme, which you have all signed up for and been matched with, which is great news. So today what we're going to do is to go over what the scheme is, a number of key details of the scheme, the schedule, things like that, all the kind of essential information that you need to know to kind of make sure you understand the scheme, make the most of the scheme, a little bit about why we're running the scheme, and then how to be an effective mentee, in this case, sorry, I should say mentee, to kind of make sure that you are communicating effectively with your mentor, you understand their role in this mentoring relationship, and just to ensure that you hopefully make the most of this opportunity. So at this stage, you should have all, well, I mean, the fact that you're here tells me you have received the email and the invite, but I have contacted all of you with details of your mentor, and hopefully you have contacted them in the last few days, just to give them a short introduction. So the things you would want to have done would have emailed your mentor to introduce yourself, started discussing when your first meeting will take place. Some of our mentors are based internationally, so you might need to establish, you know, if there's a time difference there, if there's a suitable time for you to meet with them. Oh, 1 second, I just need to let someone into the meeting. Okay, thank you. Someone else has done that. Great. So has everyone done that already? Have you already connected with your mentors?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's great to hear. If you don't hear back from them, please do let me know. You can contact me at any point throughout the scheme at gradconnect@roehampton.ac.uk, or even just my personal email, which is ross.logan@roehampton.ac.uk. But if you haven't contacted your mentor already, please do it ASAP, or you will lose your place in the program if you don't get back to them soon. So just please do bear that in mind. So the key details of the scheme itself. So the scheme will be running from November to March. And the idea is that you will have at least one meeting per month between yourself and your mentor. I understand that every mentoring relationship or partnership is going to be a bit different. In the past, I've run mentoring schemes where, you know, some pairings will meet every week if they're really eager and they just want to kind of get things rolling and kind of keep up some momentum. But we feel that the minimum that you should meet is once per month. And that is, if it goes longer than a month, it's very easy to kind of, for the mentoring to just basically fall apart and to lose any momentum at all. So please do aim to meet at least once per month. If your mentor is unable to do this, again, reach out to me and I'll see if I can support. But yeah, don't feel that you have to only meet once per month. You can meet more regularly if that is something that works for you and your mentor. In terms of the total number of meetings in the scheme, we're looking for at least 5 meetings over the course of the entire 5-month period. If you do achieve that, you will be eligible to get a kind of a certification, a certificate acknowledging that you participated in the scheme. And equally, if you do want to continue after March, that's absolutely fine. You know, some people have mentors for years and years and years. But 5 months and 5 meetings is what we are setting as the kind of minimum expectations for this particular program. In terms of the actual meetings themselves, we recommend that you meet for around 45 minutes to an hour per meeting. Again, this can be longer if you so desire, but 45 minutes at least is a good amount of time for you to set an agenda, have a conversation that has some real depth to it and actually has some value to it. So yeah, this is what we would recommend in terms of the meeting lengths if you're not sure about how that thing should look. You can meet your mentor online, in person, or over the phone. It's completely up to you. For safeguarding purposes, if you do meet your mentor in person, please meet them in a public place or somewhere that there are other people around. That could be, your place of work, their place of work, a cafe. You can meet them here at the university. If your mentor requires parking, we can arrange that so that they can have guest parking. You could, bring them to the library, for example. That's a great place to have a mentoring meeting, and that's where some of our mentors have met their mentees in the past. But just, see what works for you, what works for your mentor. Again, obviously, if your mentor is further away, you're going to have to do something, more virtual or perhaps over the phone. We don't recommend meeting via kind of a video call on the phone. Preferably, it's better if you sit down at a computer where you can focus and fully commit yourself to the call itself. But yes, the essentials here are just to make sure that you do meet in a public place. And if you have any questions regarding any of this, please do contact me again at gradconnect@roehampton.ac.uk. So why are we actually running this scheme? So some of you will have heard of GradConnect as a whole. This is our new graduate careers community at the university. If you haven't heard of this, then I mean, you're on the GradConnect mentoring scheme, so hopefully you have. But otherwise, please sign up to GradConnect. I can send you all a link to this if you would like to know more. We're sending out newsletters. We're doing multiple workshops per month to cover all sorts of different topics. There's a workshop this week on should you do a master's or not. And we've got another one coming up on interviews, but we're covering all sorts of topics from CV writing to graduate job searching. And if you have any suggestions for topics, I could even try and create a workshop for what interests you. But yeah, it's the idea is to create kind of a community where there'll be ongoing career support for graduates who have either in the final year of their studies or recent grads, to keep you in touch with the career service at the university and to support you in your kind of your career journey. So mentoring is a really, really great way to get quality one-to-one industry insight. I'm sure through your courses, whether you're still studying or you've graduated, you got some industry insight through your lecturers, maybe through talks, through a variety of sources. But I don't think anything is quite as good as having your own personal mentor, because that is someone who is working in the industry. They're doing it day in, day out. They've had their own personal journey through that particular industry. So it can be extremely valuable for getting a really deep insight into what life is actually like within that career, within that job, within that particular industry. And what's even better is it's one-to-one. So they're imparting all that knowledge directly to you without any distractions. So yeah. In terms of the matching process, it's not going to be absolutely perfect. So in some cases, we've had mentees or applicants who are looking for very, very specific mentors. That's not always possible. I've done my best to match you all with somebody who I feel can support you and help you. So even if you initially think, oh, this mentor maybe isn't exactly what I was looking for, please do at least give it some time to see what they can offer. That is a person who they may not work in your exact field of interest, but they could give you more general support if that's the case, whether that's CV writing, interview writing, helping you to build up your confidence, just providing you more generic support. Or maybe they can open your eyes to a different industry or to things that you might not have previously considered. If you really strongly feel that your mentor is not a good fit for you and there's no point continuing the mentoring process with them, do let me know and we'll try and figure something out. But if that is the case, there's no guarantee that you will be able to get a replacement mentor. I'll do what I can, but yeah, please do try your best to make things work with the mentor that you have been allocated. Yeah, and another thing that mentoring will really help you with is develop soft skills. So as well as that industry insight, you can develop things like confidence, communication, and networking skills. Mentoring is a form of networking. You are meeting somebody from the industry, you're developing a connection, and whether it's, in this case, it's the tech sector, but whether it's this sector or other sectors, mentoring is a really, really vital skill. And naturally, you know, through communicating with them, learning about the industry, you will develop your confidence and your communication skills too. And if you're an international student, this could be a really, really great way to kind of learn more about the actual UK job market, learn about how to write a UK relevant CV, cover letter, because the vast majority of the mentors are UK based. There are a few that are international based, but a lot of them are UK based. They can provide you with that kind of UK specific insight. So may seem like hopefully you have some idea what mentoring is by now, but I thought it would be useful to actually define mentoring so that you have an appreciation of what exactly is at the heart of this mentoring relationship and what mentoring really is. So the definition that I found that I feel most encompassed mentoring was a learning relationship which helps people to take charge of their own development, to realize their potential and achieve results which they value. And I think key phrases within this are take charge of their own development. So a mentor isn't supposed to be telling you exactly what to do. They're meant to be empowering you to take charge of your own career. You know, they're giving you the tools and imparting their own experience and wisdom so that you can achieve your own results that have value to you. And at its heart, a successful mentoring relationship relies on these two elements. So the mentor should be more experienced than the mentee, able to guide them towards agreed objectives that are connected to an overarching career plan. And also the mentee takes responsibility for managing their learning with the help of the mentor. So it goes both ways. It's not simply them telling you things and you doing them. You have to take responsibility for managing your learning and making the most of this relationship and this opportunity. So to kind of reinforce what mentoring isn't, it's not about the mentor's ego. It's not about them showing off, saying how great they are, and you just kind of blindly following them. It's not about kind of just playing the game. Some people might have a mentor because it's seen as something they should be doing. But in order to make the most of mentoring, you need to really want to gain from it on an intrinsic level. It shouldn't just be a one-way conversation. It should be back and forth between the two of you. It shouldn't be uncritical support, you know. While it's nice to be told that you're amazing and you're doing great, a good mentor should also be providing, you know, feedback that might not always be positive. They should do this in a constructive way, in a positive way. But they should, in the same way, they shouldn't be telling you what to do. They shouldn't just equally be accepting everything you do and saying that it's amazing. It shouldn't be an imposition of values. Naturally, you may have different values to your mentor. That's something you're going to have to establish. So yeah, do bear that in mind. It's not therapy. If you do feel that you are looking for kind of mental health support, then we have the wellbeing and counselling services here at the university. That's what they're for. So do reach out to them, and they can. You may be able to have some one-to-ones to provide therapy in that sense. But your mentor is not there to provide that. The vast majority of them are not qualified therapists. That's not what they're here for. And equally, it shouldn't be about recreating the mentee in the mentor's image. Everyone is different. You may want to follow in your mentor's footsteps, but that's not the goal for everyone. And it's not only about advising, providing a sounding board, showing someone the ropes. These are all things that are important to mentoring, providing a competitive advantage. But what it's really about in an ideal world, mentoring should be about a critical friendship. I think that's a really nice combination of words. You know, a friendship, someone you get along with, that you trust, that you have a bond with, but it has that critical element. So it's not just uncritical support. They are providing you with feedback. It's about facilitating growth, and in order for a plant to grow, it might need different things. You know, some plants need to be watered more than others. Some plants need more sunlight than others. So hopefully through your mentoring relationship, you can actually, your mentor can help to facilitate what you need. It's about trust and respect and encouraging independence, developmental relationship, and reciprocity. Kind of hard to say that word. But yeah, it's all about developing, facilitating, encouraging, so that by the end of this mentoring relationship, you're not reliant on your mentor. They have facilitated your growth so that you feel more confident and able to go off on your own. So yeah, and at the heart, it's about you, the mentee. That's who is really at the heart of all of this. So successful mentoring works best when both parties are true to themselves, are open and honest. Naturally, it's not always easy to necessarily be yourself with a new person, but that's when mentoring is most successful, when you're showing your authentic self, your mentor is being their authentic self, and through that you can truly build a bond and develop together. There's a mutual respect and you value one another's viewpoints. That doesn't mean you need to agree with their viewpoints. You may completely disagree with what your mentor says, but if you don't respect their viewpoints, then you might have an issue. You might have a breakdown of trust. So try to, even if you don't agree with your mentor, try to take on board their ideas and consider them, even if you don't want to follow through with them. You both actively listen and share. Yeah, so you have to give as much as you get. You have to contribute your own ideas. And through that, I think your mentor will be able to help you more. And you seek feedback from one another. Your mentor also might be able to learn a great deal from you. You are, I'm sure we've got students from all walks of life, graduates in all walks of life, but in many cases, mentors learn as much from their mentees as the other way around. So don't feel afraid to give your thoughts, your feedback, what you've been learning about from your course or what you've learned through your previous work experience. And mentoring works best when the mentee doesn't feel afraid to get things wrong. So when you actually have your initial meetings, contracting is really important. And what contracting is establishing how your mentoring relationship is going to work. So in your first session, these are a number of areas you'll want to discuss with your mentor and to put into place so that over the next sessions, however many you have, there is a structure there and you have a solid foundation and understanding of where things are going. So discuss how often you will meet. Are you going to go for the monthly meetings? Would you prefer to meet more regularly? It could be weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever works for you, but you will want to establish this. You want to establish how long your sessions will last. Maybe this will vary. Maybe you don't want to put a hard limit on this, but it might be useful to say, we want to aim for 45 minutes to an hour. What the expectations are. Do you have any specific expectations from your mentor, things you would really like to focus on, things you don't want to discuss? Yeah, maybe there are some topics that are off limits for you. If that is the case, it's good to establish this so that no one feels uncomfortable. How will you communicate between sessions? Some mentoring partnerships will only communicate once per month during that mentoring session. It will be predetermined when that will be. However, you might want to communicate through WhatsApp, through email. If you're not comfortable with that, you don't have to do that, but you do want to establish this so that there are kind of clear lines of communication and you don't feel like you're being ignored, or you have an understanding of how things should be. So yeah, maybe you want to just have a casual chat, talk through your mentor on a daily or weekly basis. Maybe you want to keep things strictly to the mentoring sessions. What works for you? Is it email? Is it WhatsApp? You want to figure that out. And what will you discuss next time? You know, what are you going to focus on in your forthcoming sessions that will allow you to prepare in between sessions and to have something to aim towards? If at any point you feel like you're losing focus of some of these things, you can recontract. So you could realize, okay, actually meeting every week is a bit too intense for me. I'd actually rather go back to monthly sessions. I have actually realized that this topic is uncomfortable for me. So can we please not talk about that? I'd rather only communicate via email rather than communicating regularly via WhatsApp. So you can recontract and reestablish all of these ground rules at any point. But in that first session, it's a great way to get things going. And another great way to provide structure to and purpose to your mentoring sessions is through setting objectives. And what this will do is it allows you to steer your discussions. If you don't have clear objectives in place, a mentoring session can just end up a bit of a kind of maybe an interesting conversation, but a rather shapeless conversation. And that can be engaging, but maybe at the end of it, you don't really feel like you're heading in the direction you want to, or achieving what you intend to from the mentoring experience. It provides accountability. So at least this way, your mentor knows what you're looking for, what they should be aiming to provide for you. And also, if you're setting objectives and you're not meeting them, then you're accountable for that, you know. It also can provide motivation. You need to make sure that the objectives are attainable, and we'll touch upon that again in a minute. If an objective is too difficult, too outlandish, too impossible, then it could actually be demotivating. But a well-structured, well-thought-out objective or goal can be really motivating. It feels like, you know, when you reach that goal, it feels great. It feels like you're getting somewhere. And it can also be used to show progress. For example, when I've learned languages in the past, or been trying to learn languages in the past, sometimes when you see where you've come, how much your vocabulary has improved, your listening has improved over a couple of months, it's really, really motivating. You can see, wow, I used to not have a clue what this meant, and now I can fully understand it. And it can be the same with mentoring. If you can see, wow, you know, when I started this, I didn't know anything about this topic. I didn't have a CV. I didn't know where to look for jobs. And then within a few months or weeks, you've, applied for 5 jobs. You've learned all about an area that you didn't know about. It can really, you can really see how far you've come. When you do set objectives, we recommend that you use SMART objectives. If you don't know about this, you can find absolutely tons about this on Google. There's also stuff in the mentoring handbook that you have all been sent. A lot of what I'm covering today is also covered in that handbook, so please do take a look. But it's important that a good objective is specific. If it's not specific, then you might be a bit too vague. You can't really achieve it. Measurable. It has to be something that you can actually, if you can't measure it, then how do you know if you've achieved it? Something that you can actually achieve, as I mentioned before, if you say, I want to be able to, earn X, like a crazy amount of money within this next year, or you want to become a senior in a profession that actually takes, 10 years to reach, that's not going to feel great. I want to become a qualified clinical psychologist. That's a great long-term objective, but in the context of a mentoring relationship, you're not going to be able to achieve that within 3 or 4 months. So is that a useful goal to set within this context? Probably not. Is it relevant and timed as well? So ideally, in the context of this mentoring relationship, you want to set objectives that you can actually meet on a monthly basis, or at the very least by the end of the 5-month period. So yeah, you might want to set a long-term goal, which might be the overarching career goal, so you know where you're heading towards in the long run. But in each individual session, or perhaps through the mentoring scheme, you might want to have short-term goals, more bite-sized goals. So yeah, have a look again in the mentoring handbook for more on this. And just before we finish, here are some FAQs that are again in the handbook, some frequently asked questions. So if you really don't feel like you get along, please do contact us and we'll support you with that. As I said before, we can't guarantee that you will be able to find a replacement mentor. So do give them a good chance. They're giving up their time. A lot of these people are incredibly qualified. And they're doing this for free. They're not getting paid. So it is, you are very, very lucky to have a mentor. If they can't help you meet your objectives or have the specific advice they're looking for, try to reconsider your objectives. Maybe there are other areas your mentor can advise, maybe more generic areas. I'm unable to continue with the mentoring scheme. Yeah, if for whatever reason you are unable to continue, don't worry. Just make sure you let us know so that we can facilitate that. And please do contact your mentor to explain why. And because if the sooner you do this, the better, because then we might be able to assign your mentor to another applicant. But yeah, please do let us know. If your mentor isn't responding to your messages, do bear in mind that some of your mentors will be extremely busy. They might be, working long hours, have personal commitments. So if they aren't responding straight away, that doesn't mean they're ignoring you. However, if they aren't responding to you over an extended period of time to multiple messages, reach out to us and we'll try to fix that for you. If your mentor doesn't seem engaged, again, that could be due to something external. In that case, we would recommend trying to kind of have a discussion with your mentor and try to understand why that's happening. It might be due to the structure of the mentoring sessions. It might be something that is completely unrelated to your mentoring relationship, but yeah, good to kind of make that clear. And if you're receiving conflicting advice, as I said previously, not everyone is going to have the same ideas as you, and it's absolutely fine to disagree with your mentor. Your mentor, it's not the fountain of all knowledge. Everyone has their own unique kind of career path and career journey. So please do listen to their advice respectfully, but don't feel that you're not able to push back. It's absolutely fine to push back against their ideas, but try to do so in a polite and respectful manner. Because your mentor shouldn't be dictating exactly what you should and shouldn't do. And a healthy mentoring relationship should be about giving and taking. You both should be listening to and sharing one another's ideas. So hopefully that covers most of the questions you might have. But if you do have any other questions, now is the time to ask for them. Or if you have any other thoughts, reflections, anything at all, I'd be happy to help. And feel free to pop that into the chat if you'd rather not speak on mic.
No, hey, Ross, I just want to thank you for the meeting. And I signed up completely for something different, but then it turned out that to be the mentoring, and I'm very happy for it. Actually, I probably needed that very much. So I'm very grateful that it happened unexpectedly.
Yeah, no worries at all, Mod. So as we discussed via email, the misunderstanding. Yeah. But to be honest, as you say, it might be a blessing in disguise. I think
it is actually. It is a blessing in disguise because I wasn't aware of this kind of option, and now I think that is exactly what I needed. So that thank you for sorting everything for me. Thank you.
No worries at all. And I mean, it can be huge. I didn't really go into the statistics, but mentoring is proven to really help people to develop, not only their career prospects, people who have good mentors have much better career prospects. They, in the past scheme that I ran, some of the mentees got jobs through their mentor. They heard about roles. And it can just be hugely beneficial to have a mentor for so many different reasons, whether it's
sounds fantastic, and this is exactly what I needed as well. I think this is like, as I was just saying, things happen for a reason, don't they? So Thank you again, and thank you for explaining everything so clearly. Thank you. Have a great day.
No worries at all. Does anyone else have any questions at all? Let me see in the chat. Where can you find the report? Hi there, Zafar.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Actually, that was the question I was to ask. I just posted in the chat that where we can find the recording for the session?
Yeah, no worries at all. So I have recorded the session. I will then aim to send around a link to the recording to both yourselves and anyone who was unable to attend today, any of the mentees that couldn't attend. I will also send over a copy of the PowerPoint presentation if you'd like to take a look at that. So yeah, that should come. I'm not sure. It might take me a day or so to kind of get that to you, but I will aim to do so as soon as possible. Isa Khan has asked, are the mentors getting paid for this? Yeah, so just to clarify, none of the mentors are getting paid. They are all, I think all but one of them are previous Roehampton students. They've either done a full degree here. I think a couple of them were here through Erasmus. They studied here for a term or two, but they all have a connection to Roehampton, and they all have their different reasons for being mentors, but in most cases it's, wanting to pass something on to the next generation, to give something back, to support others. Some people just love mentoring, they love helping people, and they see this as a really, really positive and productive way of doing that. But don't worry, it's not financial. They're not here for the money. They're doing this out of the kindness of their own hearts. So that's another reason why you definitely want to try and make the most of this and not take it for granted.
I have one more question, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these mentors are professionals, or they're just they're just here to help us?
They're all professionals. Yes. So it's an industry mentoring scheme. So everyone, there were a couple of mentor applicants that I think were in between jobs, but everyone I've matched you with is either working, and they all should have at least a good few years of experience. Some of them are incredibly experienced. They might have 20, 30 years of industry experience. Some of them are more recent graduates. They might have only been graduated 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, but even then they still have industry experience that they can help pass on to you. But the overwhelming majority are very, very experienced in their field. So yeah, some of the applications are incredible. Honestly, I was amazed at the experience of some of the mentors that are on this scheme. So really, really impressive stuff. There's at least one that's retired, but then they're retired after having worked for 40 years. So it's not a bad thing.
All right. That's great to know that. Thank you so much for all that.
No problem. Any other questions at all? Claudia says, you mentioned that we have to meet up at least 5 times, but is it possible to have more sessions with the mentor? Yes, it absolutely is. That's something that you will have to establish with your mentor. But I've had mentoring partnerships that have continued after the period. Ultimately, I don't want this scheme to be super rigid and limited, and you have to feel like I must meet on this day every month, and that is all that we can do. Nothing like that. These are generally guidelines rather than firm rules. So the limit, we want to set a minimum requirement of 5 meetings over the 5-month period. If you don't do that, then you would not achieve the certification. You would not be considered to have completed the scheme. But it's certainly possible and absolutely fine with us if you meet more regularly. You can meet twice a month, you can meet weekly. You could even have a shorter, if you and your mentor just, you meet 10 times in 2 months and you think that's it for us, we've covered everything, and maybe you stay in touch less regularly, that's fine too. So these are all just recommendations that we put in place to ensure that everyone gets an essential amount out of the scheme. But yeah, ultimately it's up to you to discuss this with your mentor and see what works for you and for them, and establish that relationship moving forward. Anything else? No worries at all. Okay, so there don't appear to be any more questions coming through. So unless something pops up in the next few seconds, I will leave it there. So yeah, thank you all for coming along today. as I said multiple times throughout the presentation, if you do have any issues or questions at all as the weeks go by, I'm always going to be here to support. I'm planning to check in with you periodically, so I'll get in touch within the next month or so just to make sure that that things have got started okay. I'll check in again in January to make sure things pick up after the winter break, and then I'll be in touch at the end of the program to get some feedback so that we can make sure this program is a success moving forward and we make it as good as we could possibly be. So that's the kind of main structure from me, but always happy to answer emails or even jump on a quick call if you want to talk something through or have any questions. All right, so I will stop the recording there.